Now, as you all know, John and Dave have been very busy for the past couple of years, especially this year of 2023, as they're working on multiple Star Wars projects at the same exact time to really kind of propel Star Wars in a different path as fast as possible, while also maintaining quality. They don't want to push these things out way too fast at the same exact time. So given that Favreau and Filoni are sticking to the legend stories and how that could really coexist with the current Disney canon is really going to be a challenge, but a great work ethic on their part. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now that brings us to what really is going on with George Lucas. Now, we already know that George Lucas is really helping out with John and Dave. Not only is he advising, but he's also taking part in the storyboards and some of the overall notes that are being created for future Star Wars projects out there, and a lot more on the horizon. So George, John, and Dave, this wonderful trio that is bringing Star Wars back to its roots, it's really working, and so far so good. I think that what we have seen with the Mando Season 3 trailer has been spot on so far, and what we have been hearing about Star Wars Ahsoka also has been very much dedicated to the original vision of George Lucas. Now that brings us to exactly what George Lucas recently allowed to happen, and actually made possible to actually happen for a future Star Wars show that I believe is really going to make a lot of fans happy and really mark itself down as one of the big moments in the Mandoverse era. So with that being said, we already know that everything related to that dynamic is progressing. Now, with George Lucas now helping out greatly with John and Dave for the future of the brand, he is also calling the shots on something substantial for the Star Wars franchise. Now, it's noted that as of now, George has been making key decisions on the set, of course, of an upcoming Star Wars project, and is about to do something truly spectacular for the fandom for a planned-out scene from Mandalorian Season 4. Now, Lucas is the one who storyboarded this scene in particular with John and Dave and came up with the idea to bring back Han, Luke, and Leia to have a big reunion scene in the upcoming season that's going to drop in either 24 or 2025. Now, Lucas met with ILM, where their new revolutionary technology, of course, was demonstrated to truly make the characters appear as they do in Return of the Jedi with different designs a little bit. Lucas is planning on giving fans a proper reunion between all three characters on the world of Ossus, in front of Luke's Jedi training temple. In this storyboard that's been finalized to be used in the script, it showcases Luke standing in front of his temple with the Falcon landed in front of it. So let me just stop right here for 1 second. For those of you that don't know, this is actually very much based off of one of J.J. Abrams' original ideas for The Force Awakens. There was supposed to be a scene in which there was going to be a moment where Han and Leia drop, of course, a certain somebody off, we're going to tap into that in a second, at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple. Now, in the beginning, this was just a rough idea in the early drafts of The Force Awakens script. It got scrapped almost immediately, but now what George Lucas is doing is that he's picking up on that old story element for The Force Awakens and kind of rearranging it to better suit this moment in time in which they're younger. So you have Luke, Han, and Leia meeting together again, where the Falcon lands on Ossus right in front of Luke's temple, and they're going to meet each other once again. Now, granted, I understand, this is not the older counterparts of Luke, Han, and Leia, so I'm not quite sure if the reunion is going to have as much of a big of an impact, but I think it will. You know, regardless, who wouldn't like to see Luke, Han, and Leia together again? I mean, I think it's going to be a very special moment, regardless. Now, given that they are going to be basing this very nice moment on Star Wars Legends, they're taking it from one of the Star Wars books. It's kind of unclear to exactly which book it's coming from, but they're basing it off of one of the Legends books in which they do have a reunion scene after not seeing each other for quite some time. So with that being said, there's a lot of things going on here with that moment. Now here, alright, surprisingly Han and Leia are walking down the ramp of the Falcon with Chewbacca and a young Ben Solo. This is where Luke walks up to them and gives them a big hug. This is said to be a moment in which Ben sees his uncle for the first time in years. This is also said to be a moment in which, of course, it's very emotional. Luke holds a different design in this scene. His hair is slicked back and is wearing brown robes this time around. Mando 4 is said to have a time jump, also by a couple of years. Lucas has been in the talks with Harrison on returning for the role of Han Solo. However, this is a big decision in the works by Ford. Disney is, however, willing to provide Harrison a big deal to return. So that's the big problematic situation right now, is trying to get Harrison Ford back to portray the role of Han Solo again. Because apparently Harrison Ford is very resistant to coming back, unless he's provided a certain paycheck from what it sounds like. Biggest question of all is, will Disney give a big paycheck to Harrison Ford to come back as Han Solo? I think yes. They could always, bring Han back as fully CGI, but the best way to go about doing this is using ILM's new revolutionary de-aging technology that's going to be mixed in with deepfake technology. It's something completely new that we have never seen before in the film industry yet. So they're going to be using that for Mando 4 and a lot of other upcoming Star Wars projects first. So the thing about this is that the way that they're going to have to recreate Leia is going to be very near similar to what they did in The Rise of Skywalker and also in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Alright, to create that young Leia variant, they're going to have to use those two types of techniques. So when you're looking at something like this, where all the characters are coming back together again, this is why they're waiting until ILM's new technology is perfected, because they want to make this scene seamless, they want no flaws, they want to make them look literally like actual real people with no flaws at all. And to go about doing that, they have to use ILM's new tech. And like I said before, it's a combination of de-aging technology and deepfake. We're not quite sure what it really is just yet, but it is something completely new that also combines itself with live voice synthesizers as the actor talks through a microphone. So there's a lot of great things coming out of that. I think that as long as it looks very convincing and realistic, the reunion scene is going to hit a lot of fans emotionally, and it's really going to mark itself down as a very big and emotional moment in this Mandoverse era, quote-unquote, right? So this is what I mean about George Lucas. I mean, he does stuff like this. This is the type of stuff that we could have got in the sequels if he were at least somewhat involved and not just pushed to the wayside. So anyways, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.